Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the RMTV Women's Podcast. This is episode 136, and this week I am joined by the lovely Emma Sanders. Once again, the super sub that just saves the day, comes to the rescue, always there when you need her.
That's what I try to be, yeah. Super
That's what you're here for.
Yeah. Don't get paid for this shit.
Same, so it's fine. We move on. But yeah, we've got a few topics to discuss this week. The first one is something that I was extremely happy about when I seen it. Announced yesterday is that Missy Bo Kearns has signed a new deal at Liverpool Women. Obviously last season's player of the season, probably her breakout season in terms of just being able to play more matches and being more involved in the squad and whatnot. I think it's sorely deserves really that she's got a new deal and that she's going to stay at the club, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think she described it herself as her breakthrough season, didn't she, in the interview with LFC TV. So yeah, I'm just buzzing to see her stay because obviously she's a local fan. She's like a homegrown talent. She knows what it means to play for the club, and I think she showed last season that. Certainly in the championship anyway, that she's really got a presence in the local midfield, and she just seemed to grow and grow with each game, and towards the end of the season she was, I think, by far one of Liverpool's best players. So really excited to see what more we can get out of her.
I think she's still only 21, I want to say, or 20. She's obviously still dead young. But yeah, obviously was named player of the season last year as well, and that's really amazing for her because considering some of the players we did have in our squad, and I'd definitely say towards the back end of the season is when she really kicked on and started performing really well in games. But the fact that everyone was able to notice just how much of a key figure she can be in that midfield for us is key to probably her staying on at the club, really.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really impressed me, which you kind of touched on there about the other experienced players that, she's got around her, was the fact that she's always really brave, like when she's on the ball, like she's not afraid to take shots from long range, and she believes in her own ability, and, she'll take players on, she'll constantly be asking for the ball, like she doesn't shy away from those situations, and I think that's something that really stood out for me. And I think obviously Matt Beard's come in, and he's obviously, there'll be some players, just like what there will be with all managers, there'll be some players that wouldn't have taken his fancy and some that would. And, he came out and said, I followed Missy and, Bo Kearns, and obviously I thought she had a really good season and has done really well. So he's obviously seen something in her which excites him. So she's obviously got the backing of Matt Beard. And like you say, the fact that she won player of the season, I think was a credit to her improvements really, but also kind of that stepping out from being kind of one of the younger members of the squad and really making it her own. So yeah, really good news, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you mentioned Matt Beard there, I think he was probably in charge. I think he said he's seen her when she was at the Centre of Excellence when she was younger, when he was first in charge of Liverpool, and he pointed out in his interview that that how technically gifted she is, and being a clever player and sort of like a set piece specialist. I feel like we haven't had someone who's a set piece specialist for a while at Liverpool, so she's sort of coming in and taking those roles and making them her own, really. But in terms of like next season, what type of role do you see her in? Do you see her being on the team sheet every week, or is she going to be? Obviously, I think she's going to be involved in most games, but is she going to be one of the first names on there, or how do you see her playing out for it?
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see what the recruitment's like, I think, first. It's difficult to know what the squad's going to look like next season until we kind of know what players are coming in. But I think, the fact that obviously Amy Rodgers has already moved on suggests that probably Matt thought there was only maybe room for one of those two kind of young players. So that makes me think that he's kind of, put his trust in her, and she'll be back. I think she will play very regularly, and I think she probably will start most games, to be honest, because like I say, off the back of last season, like her and probably Kerry Holland were Liverpool's best players going coming towards the end of the campaign. So I think you probably envisage having those two in midfield, and obviously, maybe Jade Bailey or a new player coming in, and then obviously you've got Fernie as well, but Fernie has been playing kind of in a bit more of like an advanced role, hasn't she? So be interesting to see what happens there, but certainly kind of those 4 players, you think they're all going to be in and amongst it for those kind of 3 midfield positions that Liverpool have been playing. But again, like, we don't know what kind of system Matt's going to be playing. So she was getting into really good attacking positions, and she was playing quite high up, wasn't she? Sort of in that kind of Steven Gerrard just outside the box type area. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see her given a bit more of a kind of a freer role and a bit more of, an attacking position. So I think either way, like, she's going to be heavily involved. So be interesting to see.
I feel like that's a lot of energy in midfield. If you put like her and Kelly Holland next to each other, like, that's a lot of energy. That's just going to be like non-stop running between the two of them, which is, I mean, I'm glad it's not me, to be honest. I couldn't last that on a run. It's not for me, that one. You could though. I reckon you'd be alright.
Well, I mean, I've been a bit lazy.
Not with your dodgy knee, but
yeah, it's all right now. So I haven't got that. I'll say it's all right. I haven't got the excuse now. It's just it's hot. I just complain about the weather constantly. So
you've got to be careful when you're running the heat, guys.
That's why I'm not running, because I know that I'm just incapable of it.
You don't want to risk any health risks there, do you? No, I agree with you on that one.
Thank you.
We'll move on then. And a new topic that I don't think has been mentioned much on this podcast. I think it's probably been brought up a couple of times, but the Spanish league has announced that their women's league is going to be a professional league from next season onwards. So the Spain has released details to make the country's top women's football league a fully professional competition. The division is set to be revamped, taking on a new name and new structure, as it will be. Why can't I speak? Why can't I get my words out? What's going on? I'm doing it. I haven't got my glasses on. The writing's too small, and I'm like, But the league will consist of 16 teams who can jointly organise their competitions and can generate their own income. I think
nailed it.
I just edit around that. I just cropped that bit out. It's fine. One thing that like sticks out in my head when I first seen this and when I think about it is when Tony Duggan first went over to Barca. I think that's the first time where I was fully like, okay, like Spain are like going for it here with like their teams, like that's amazing. Obviously with their signing for Barcelona and like coming from Liverpool and stuff like that, I was really like keen on like following their journey. She then obviously moved to Atletico Madrid, and I think it was either last season or the season before when there was like a bit of drama in terms of like they didn't know the fixtures yet, like they didn't know when they were going to start playing, who was going to be playing who, how long the season was going to go on for. And I think like that was mad to me, because you had teams like Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, all like the huge names in Spain having their women's teams. Obviously Real Madrid came out and was like, we're going to have our women's side as well. But then the league wasn't really being looked after properly. So I think this is like going to be huge going forward from next season now. And it's probably going to take women's football in Spain up another level, because, you know, just them pointing out there the fact that they can have, you know, sell the games for TV and generate more profit and income off that. It's just going to be just more women's football that you're going to be able to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, because we were speaking to Leah Williamson this afternoon. She was obviously talking about kind of, you know, back in the days when Arsenal were kind of winning everything, and she said that certainly from the WSL's point of view, it was a good thing that in a way that Arsenal didn't continue winning everything, because essentially because they didn't, that was why WSL ended up going professional, because more teams had invested and more teams started winning, and therefore there was more competition. And it kind of, when I look at the Spanish league now, like it was kind of, you know, before it was just Barcelona, whereas now obviously Real Madrid coming in I think was huge. And then obviously Atletico Madrid are you know, pumping a lot of money in, and teams even lower down the league are putting more money in now. So I think it's kind of put pressure on the league itself to generate its own money and to encourage other teams to move into that direction. So I think it was a step that was always going to happen at some point. And obviously Barcelona's success has just been incredible. So I think that's similar to what we saw with Arsenal back in the day with WSL. I think their achievements have kind of put sort of the Spanish league on the map. So it's probably not good news for WSL clubs in terms of like the Champions League. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's great for women's football as a whole, and you know, female athletes should be getting paid. So any league that goes professional is obviously only a good thing.
Yeah, and it's mad to like look at it as well, because you look at Barca and like the players that they've got in their squad, and you think, oh my god, they weren't even playing in like a full-time, like a fully professional division either. But these are like big stars on the international stage as well. Like it's so random to think about it, because they are playing week in week out for Barcelona, which is like such a huge team. Then going away and playing in World Cups or like Euros or anything like that. But then going back and playing, you know, in a league that's not professional, it's just mad. Like you'd never see that in like a men's game. You'd never have someone who's like Lika Martins is a perfect example of, you'd never have a Dutch, I mean, it might have happened, I don't know an example, but you'd never have a Dutch like full international playing in a part-time league. Like that's just not the way football usually works, if you get what I mean. So it's like, now that it is, I think it's just gonna go up a level. And like you said, the Champions League probably not gonna be as exciting for the English sides, because we all watch Chelsea Barca, so we all know how that ended. As long as when Liverpool get there eventually, as long as we can just, you know,
we'll be
pass the teams, we'll be alright. Be Sam when Riley Foster lifts that trophy, do you know what I mean? She'll be alright.
Be like 05 all over again, but without the going behind 3-0.
Oh god, I couldn't cope with that.
I couldn't cope with that.
I'd have to turn it off for half time. I'd be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Even
just give us a cheeky 2019 penalty all day long.
Little who'd be the diva who'd score like last minute to make it 2-0? Who'd you reckon that would be in the team now?
Oh.
If you're gonna base it off this group of players, because we never know who you're gonna have.
Ash Hodson, is she still with us?
She's a shout, yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember, I'm losing track now of who's out of contract and whatever.
Like a long saving player, Ash Hodson's a shout, yeah.
Ash Hodson, yeah.
I don't know, maybe like even like a Kerry Holland or something like that. Like
yeah.
Someone who's.
What about a Niamh Fahey, like Van Dijk?
Can you imagine? Imagine Niamh Fahey scoring like an 80. What did he score in, like 83 or something like that? Make it 2-0. I'd be going wild.
Yeah. Wild. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I've just zoned out and dreaming about it now. So I've just zoned out.
We needed to happen. Liverpool, we needed to happen. Get it together.
Just take it step by step, you know, game by game. Focus on the next game.
Oh gosh. We'll move on then, and we'll move on to some. Obviously, Olympics is approaching thick and fast. I'm actually really excited for this summer's Olympics. I never usually get into it, but I think just because we were deprived of so many things for so long, I'm like, I want it all now. I will sit there and watch someone jump off a 10-meter platform into a pool. Like, don't you worry.
I'm so glad you said like into a pool at the end of that.
I will watch someone jump off a 10-meter platform. Yeah, imagine. But yeah, no. Come on, Tom Daly. But
no, I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing. Well, I'm work is sending me to the friendly against Zambia.
But you're going to say work is sending me to Tokyo then? I was like, hold on a minute, you kept that quiet.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, sorry. Although I don't know whether you've seen the news about there's a potential kind of quarantine period for athletes.
Yes.
Is it like 6 days? Pardon?
Is it 6 days?
I think so, yeah.
Which is like a bit mad. I think they've quite thought through.
It'd just be like, you'd imagine they'd probably want to get out to Tokyo with a few days in advance, wouldn't they? So
yeah, like you'd probably just you'd 100% fly out early, wouldn't you? Because if you think about it, if they go on the day that they planned, they're losing 6 days in terms of like training wise, because it would be a strict quarantine as well. Like you probably couldn't leave your room. Do you know what I mean? Like you've seen, like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Well, I had to do it for recently, didn't I?
I was sending you some really funny TikToks though to get you through it. It was fun.
You did. No, you were amazing. Sending me Harry Potter content.
Oh yeah, I've got Harry Potter to tell you when we finish this. I won't say it on the internet 'cause it's embarrassing, but I'll tell you at the end. But yeah, Olympics Team GB. Obviously, Karen Barzi was one of our goalkeepers going in the squad, but unfortunately for her, she's picked up an injury and had to pull out. She's obviously on loan at the minute to reign in the NWSL, and I think it's fair to say the last like two seasons she's sort of obviously been Eddie Roebuck's come in and being the main goalkeeper for Man City. Ozzy's struggled with a few injuries and stuff like that, so I think the loan to Reign was a good one for her, but obviously she's picked up an injury and she's had to pull out of Team GB, which I think she was one of the names in the squad list that I was kind of like, okay, I mean, I can see why she's going, but considering the seasons that she'd had, I was a bit like, that's probably like a surprising name to see there. And obviously she can't go now. They haven't announced who's going to take her place. It's obviously going to be another goalkeeper. Obviously, Sandy McCarver's on the reserves list, so you automatically assume that she's just going to go into that squad. Someone's then going to have to replace her. You know, the other keepers that you've got to choose from are Carly Telford and Mary Earps. It's, you know, out of them two, I feel like, also yeah. I feel like out of them, I feel like Carly Telford might be the one that gets the call, just in terms of just like experience. I think that's probably what Karen Barnsley was going to offer in that team was that experienced goalkeeper. So I think maybe if they're going to go the same route, it'd be Carly Telford. But yeah, it's a difficult decision, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got Leah Alexander from Scotland as well. I can't really see any of the Northern Ireland keepers coming up, so probably not the Wales either. So I think maybe Lee Alexander's probably the only other one that you put in that mix. But for me, Hannah Hampson should have been in the squad anyway. On the reserve list, I wouldn't have taken Karen Barsi. That's no disrespect. Obviously, she went in 2012, but like you say, clearly Hegarita was quite open about this. She wanted experience, and that was why Con was in there. But I would have taken Ellie Roebuck and either one of Sandy or Hannah in the two, and then obviously the other one be the reserve. So it's an absolute no-brainer for me. Hannah Hampson comes in, but I agree. I think the fact that Heger wanted to take Karen in the first place suggests to me that she wants that experience in there. So I think Carly Telford will be the one that comes in, which again, no disrespect to her, but I'll be disappointed with, because I think Hannah Hampson should have been there anyway. So she would absolutely be my pick of the bunch.
It's hard, isn't it? I don't know. I think that I don't know whether there's the perfect mix of experience and youth in that Team GB squad. Obviously, it's always difficult for Olympics because you don't have that many people to choose from. You do have a limited squad. So she's obviously picked based off her experience managing that team. And obviously she threw a few Scotland players in there and whatnot. So I don't know. It's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, the FA made it quite clear in a couple of briefings that we had what their criteria was, and it was, fitness, versatility, and experience. So I was really shocked not to see Alex Greenwood, obviously from a local player, but could not understand it. Yeah, she's had arguably the best season of her career. She's been starting at City ahead of, the likes of Demi Stokes.
Who is going, which makes
who is going. She's fit, she's versatile, and then you've got Demi Stokes, who's been injured, who hasn't been playing for City, who's not as versatile. A lot of it didn't make sense to me, but then a lot of it did at the same time. So I think from the 18-player squad, I mean, I think there's a strong case for 2 or 3 that you would have said, like, why are they in there? And then I think the rest, in my opinion, I think based on the criteria, you can see why they have been selected.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who comes in. Like I said, I'd love Hannah to go, but more because I think Hannah Hampton will be a massive part of England's Euros, the home Euros. So for me, just makes no sense taking a goalkeeper that, again, no disrespect, but I just don't see Carly Telford having any role in that Euros. And if we're really planning, obviously you want to go to Team GB to win it, but Carly or Hannah, they're not going to be starting. They're not going to be, probably not going to be featuring. Ellie Roebuck for me is the absolute number 1. So if you're not planning on starting them anyway, then why not give somebody the experience with the future in mind? That just makes too much sense to me. But
yeah, that's too easy, Emma. It's too easy to do that. They're not going to do it that way. No.
By the way, Wales have just won.
I was who's got the second?
I think it was Connor Roberts.
Oh, go on then.
But I was focusing on the podcast, so I wasn't paying too much attention.
Of course, yeah. You'll just see Gareth Bale's penalty go past you in a minute.
Yeah. Joining Charlie Adams in space.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it'll be an interesting Olympics. Like I said before, I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully, Team GB do well. But I can't help but just think that the USA are just gonna absolutely smash it. They still have announced their squad though, have they? So he's taking a sweet time.
Yeah, I think France could be a better threat as well.
Yeah, it's a shout, to be fair. Yeah. There's too many to choose from. I don't like it. Why can't England just be the best? Why can't we just win it all? Oh well.
We will.
Yeah. We will. Oh God, don't start that. But yeah, that's everything on today's agenda. Thank you again, Emma, for subbing in, saving the day. And thank you everyone. I know. It's a pleasure as always. Thank you everyone for watching. Remember to like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all next time with a brand new podcast. Bye.